up is easy and free, like your Hunter wins on ladder. To register, all you need to do is log on to esl.gg/legendary series, click on the login register button, and join the event via our tournament portal. The $3,000 opens happen once every 2 weeks, beginning March 21st, 2015. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one showing off your pure skills. Spots go fast, so make sure to grab a seat quickly in the tavern.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hearthstone Legendary Series Season 1 Finals, Day number 2 broadcast. It's time for another match here. And, of course, guest casting and rotating in is Dark Wanix, one of the semifinalists who played immaculately yesterday and, of course, is spending some of his free time to watch some games. How you doing, Dark?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. How'd you gauge the previous series versus yesterday? It seems like the players are a little bit more focused, right? Like Savitz, he was playing much better, much more clean. Do you have any other thoughts on how you saw the previous series?
I kind of stole my luck, like the previous games. These games were really insane, but I hope I steal it back until we face again, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to see if that's going to be the case for our upcoming match. We have Weifu versus Chakki. Now, this is in your group, Dark Wanix. In fact, you played Chakki in the first match. Now, of course, you can always say that maybe Chakki got a little bit unlucky or whatnot because you're the one who beat him. But how do you feel about Chakki's current place here, given his decks? He brought a little bit different stuff than other people. Do you think he still has a good chance of getting second place here?
Yeah, I think he can bring this game home, to be honest, because he's playing what he's most comfortable with. He's always been like the face hunter and freeze mage for a long time, so he knows what he's doing.
And of course, we talked about it yesterday. He is a former Pokemon trading card game world finalist, which is interesting. We've seen a few players over the course of the tournament who are part of other card games that translated that skill over into Hearthstone, so it's cool to see that.
Yeah, well, we have a little facts about him, as you saw on the screen, but we also have some more facts as we got a chance to sit down and talk with Chakki a little bit about his life.
My name's Keaton Gill. I go by the username Chakki. I'm from Indiana, and I play for Team Dignitas. It's been great being in California. I've been here a few times before, one of my favorite states, and I'm pretty hyped up about the ESL event. Yeah, I'm actually taking some time off being a student for now and fully focusing on Hearthstone. So this is pretty much my job for now, and I'm taking it really seriously this year. Well, right now, basically all it means is that I'm practicing a lot more. I can travel to any event I get invited to. I don't have to turn down anything, and I just get to devote all my time to Hearthstone. Well, I think the most fun thing about Hearthstone is basically just competing. Like where I'm at right now is just the pinnacle of it all. It's just playing in tournaments. The day-to-day, kind of like grinding ladders and stuff, gets a little tedious. I think I definitely have a different mindset towards like the game compared to other players. I think that aggressive styles in Hearthstone actually work really well compared to other card games, just due to the way that minion trading and all of it works. Some of the aggro cards are actually worse, just to kind of keep that in check. But I think overall a lot of other people they kind of think of aggro as more of a less skilled playstyle. They don't have to practice it as much, and sometimes they make mistakes that lead them, a few damage short of winning the game. On paper, I think the best player here through recent results is Savitz. And I think he's good. I don't think he'll beat me, but I think he's good.
Okay, so I guess it's a good bullet dodge there. Savitz isn't in his group, and he's playing against Weifu. But we wish Chakki, of course, the best of luck, as he is a player known to be aggressive, but he does have a couple of control decks and tricks up his sleeves.
He's known as the dog in Taiwan for his love of Hunter. So both of these guys love that Hunter. Both of these guys love to play very fast and aggressive decks. And you can see just by his favorite card how much he likes. I wonder if that's still his favorite card.
I think it kind of is. We talked a lot during the interview, which actually we have just prepared. But he was talking about how people make fun of him all the time in Taiwan for the kind of play style he is. In fact, let's take a look at that interview right now.
Hello everyone. My name is Weifu, and I'm come from Taiwan. And I just have no team. I think it's not quite different from other people. In Taiwan, I think Taiwan have a lot of good players, but Taiwan players do not have any opportunity to join the tournament or others. If we have the chance, I think lot of Taiwan players can do it. I think you know that China have their tournament for China guys to join, but we doesn't have the spot to play in China, because when they play on Twitch, we our players in Taiwan always watch together. I think yes, I think Taiwan player is better than China players.
Ooh, so he thinks Taiwan is better than China, which, you know, people are agreeing is one of the top regions right now out there. And can he represent and back that statement up against, I guess, the American hero Chakki? What do you think, TJ?
Yeah, it's Weifu was one of the people that I was most impressed by going through the regular season matches. He was actually the winner of week number 4, and he beat some well-known players, including Dog, to make it to where he is right now. Chakki as well. He had the best record out of anybody who won a single week of the Hearthstone Legendary Series regular season, with a 9-1 record over that week. So he just dominated the competition. And of course, since they're both in this elimination match, they didn't have the best of luck yesterday. They didn't it wasn't a fortunate start for them, but still, both definitely good players, and I'm sure they're looking for wins today.
All right, well, the admin already gave a thumbs up to start game number 1. Dark, do you have any predictions for this series?
It's going to be quite interesting because both players are known for their aggressive playstyle, both Chakki and Weifu. So it's actually going to be like a quite really interesting better series we're going to have.
We're going to start things off with Druid versus Druid before we go into Shaman Hunter, then close out the phase 1 of the series, excuse me, with a Mage Mirror. But of course, we know that's Control Mage versus Mech Mage. And in the meantime, Druid versus Druid, this matchup, people, again, they say it often comes down to the tempo that can be early established through Wild Growths and Innervates. And we do see 2 Innervates for Chakki, which can be devastating if Weifu doesn't have an opportunity to respond.
No Wild Growths across the board, though, so well, we'll give him a fast start. It'll just be a temporary boost.
I mean, he has a turn 1 play with using these Innervates.
He does.
But, you know, one of those things where, you know, how is your follow-up? Are you just going to get Wrath or get it destroyed a little bit easily and you only do a few damage points here?
Yeah, you don't want to innervate like a big guy straight away usually because your following turns will be very weak. So you want to like save those innervates for keeping a better curve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. And, you know, you can, like, say turn 3, he innervates out this Druid of the Claw. Then turn 4, you can innervate out Sylvanas. And that way you can have 2 minions back-to-back to really overwhelm the board.
In this matchup as well, I know that Weifu has Saki-san Mystic in his deck, so he has some tech cards that are pretty useless in the Druid matchup mirror. But I also think he runs Black Knight, and I'm not sure if Chakki does. So he got some tech cards that are really good, and some that are completely useless.
Why has Ramp Druid fallen off so much compared to mid-range? Because Ramp for you know, a season or 2 was actually pretty good, right? It was like one of the decks topping the ladders.
I guess it was because like the meta changed quite drastically, and it's really hard for Ramp to beat decks like, let's say, Oil Rogue, for example, because all the saps and tempo gain that Oil Rogue can gain. So it's just falling out of the meta quite.
But the mid-range can keep up with its speed, right? Like how it's able to put on pressure. I've even seen some people run Spectral Knights again, even though they rotate that out.
Yeah, the mid-range is actually supposed to beat the Rogue, even. It's one of the better decks against it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Spectral Knight's really good against Warriors as well, which is starting to become more popular. So it might be a tech card that we'll see more from mid-range, these faster Druid decks.
Is this an opportunity to drop Big Game Hunter? I know we've seen Dr. Boom's in decks, but I mean, we always talk about how Druids have a hard time fighting back from board because of their lack of AoE. So you like that play?
I kind of don't like it because it's on turn 4, mainly because of the Keeper. Can like instantly kill it, and he knows that he has a Dr. Boom in the deck, but if it was like, if he didn't had the coin, he could play it instantly. to just avoid a keeper for one turn and maybe trade it off to some really high value guy.
Sure.
Because now it's like he's gonna be a dead card, but it is an aggressive state. Yes, right now he wants to push for damage instantly.
I guess the plus side is if he puts a Keep of the Grove, it's substantially weaker than Chillwind Yeti. So the stats-wise, you do have some trade-off there. But it's like you said, it is a little bit dangerous considering how he gives a free card over to his opponent.
And since he made the decision to get the Druid of the Claw out earlier, he was sort of forced into a spot where he either had to draw into a play for turn 3, or he knew that he was going to be playing the big game hunter either way.
He got some nice tempo plays right now though, because he can just kill a keeper for free, and let's say innervate that to Sylvanas, and his opponent has to most likely do something against the against the Druid. He could either like run the Shade into it, or just play an own Druid for himself.
I have no time for games.
But it gives a nice tempo advantage.
Curves out quite nicely as well with the Azure Drake follow-up. That's a pretty smooth set of turns here.
Yeah.
More tech cards that aren't useful in this matchup specifically. That's definitely painful for Weifu. Again, pretty vulnerable to a lot of what Druid can do. Just even the spell-powered Wrath over the course of turns would be enough to take out Harrison.
I like that they actually managed to get Druid into the Druid, because he knows that Druid has a lot of tech cards in Weifu's deck, like Harrison and Kazan Mystic, but he didn't play like Freeze Mesh into it, for example. So Kazan would have been like a really devastating card in that matchup.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, stealing the ice block would be so crucial.
Yeah.
Oh, Swipe clears the board. But he gives initiative once again to Chakki. He doesn't collect any value off Sylvanas, but he does have a way to refill his hand. Normally it'd be a pretty bad scenario if you don't have a follow-up to this, but Azure Drake's one of the best.
Yeah, Sylvanas is just like a strong body in its own, a 5/5. It's hard for Druids to deal with, because they don't have any 5 damage removal. And it's hard to like play a Druid of the Claw into it, because it's just 4 damage, and you know that they can just draft his own guy to steal it.
Yeah.
Or do some big plays after. So it's just like a really good tempo card, because you will always get tempo when you play it.
I think Chakki's going to definitely seek to try to do as much damage as possible. He's a Savage Run Force of Nature in hand, so he can count backwards from there. On the plus side, Weifu has seen 2 innervates, so he doesn't have to worry about, you know, turn 7, turn 8 innervate combo. So if it ever gets to the point where he's under a lot of pressure, he still has X amount of time which he can buy himself. Say if he picks up Lotheb and he needs to hold on to it for a little bit.
Yeah, so once he sort of wrestles back, control of the board, and is able to put out threats of his own, he can use his own innervates later on if he draws into them to sort of leverage a little bit more over Chakki. So that's good. He could have peace of mind because of that fact.
Yeah, it could also be dead cards, like if he draws them too late.
Yeah, that's true as well.
It's usually like better getting them early on, just get rid of them.
Why Yeti over Druid of the Claw? Is it the versatility of Druid of the Claw, or is it something else? Is he trying to like make him swipe instead and then play something else?
I guess he's afraid of Black Knight if he taunts it up because it's on turn 6. He also gets a hero power into this, but yeah, he doesn't really want to charge the Druid into the Drake neither.
Yeah, it doesn't seem desirable.
I wouldn't be surprised to see double cycling Wrath here, to be honest. Hero power to kill it, just to get some more cards, because he has already some dead cards in his hand. Now when he got picked up a lore, he could just kill it instantly with his Wrath.
I mean, how good is Wrath normally in this matchup? Outside of Kazan Mystic, right? How good is it normally in this matchup? It's pretty mediocre, generally speaking.
It's actually pretty good. Like, it's a really good tempo gain. If you have board control, you can Wrath something to keep the board control, and if you don't, you can just either like clear the board, and you can also like drop cards with it. Especially with the spell power, it's really, really good, because you gain tempo and cards back.
Oh, so you like Wrath in this matchup?
Yeah, I like it.
One of the things about Wrath, too, is like how it just feels so weak sometimes if you don't get the cycle and your hand is looking pretty bad, though.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that it can make you fall really far behind if that's your only response and you dedicate 2 mana to it.
Sometimes 3 damage isn't that great against Druid. A lot of times you need like 4 damage to be able to take out some of their threats, or even 5. And it's the same reason why Warriors don't like Fire War Axe as much in the Warrior against Druid, because a lot of times you just don't get early use out of it as much as you do against other classes.
I'm surprised here that he didn't go for the Druid charge into the Trog, because he knows it's turn 7, so he's most likely going to play lore anyway. So that 4-2 Druid will be alive.
Yeah, disrupt his turn to bait him into an easy pick off here, but now the Ancient of Lore will come down, and this is where Chakki can firmly plant himself on the board, making it difficult.
That sound when he attacks.
Don't interrupt me when I'm casting Trog.
I don't even know what the Trog says when he attacks. He just like yells out loud something.
Sounds a little bit like my dad when he wakes up in the morning.
Yeah. Or puts you to sleep.
Yeah. Ferdinand was actually bragging earlier about his fantastic Stone Splinter Trog impression.
That may or may not have happened, TJ. Can neither confirm nor deny.
It was just a bait.
Trogs are definitely some of the meanest cards in Hearthstone. Them, abusive sergeants, like they're very, very mean people.
Yeah. They have like a good family though.
Yeah, they always
They're
stick
bonding
together.
together. So I don't think Balgrupt is the best turn here, but maybe play Harrison just to get a minion on the board. Because I think he's still afraid of that Black Knight. That's why he's not playing the Druid.
We didn't see a Black Knight in Chakki's deck though yesterday, did we? For Druid. I mean, you didn't see one, did you?
I'm not sure actually if I saw one. No, I don't think I saw one.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I know Weifu has one, but I don't think Chakki has one.
We didn't go through his whole deck. It's still possible, but it's a card that sometimes you can have trouble fitting in, especially if you put in other tech cards. But Chakki doesn't seem to be that tech card heavy. Weifu seems to be the one who's trying to counter a bunch of different things with the Harrison and with the Kazan Mystic.
Wow. Azure Drake. Oh my goodness. He can wrath the Harrison Jones and then pressure for a combo kill next turn.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so Drake and just Wrath is quite like obvious this turn. Really good pressure, and you just go face with that lore as well. Bring him down under 14.
Right, because then what's the most damage your opponent can do on the other end? It's if he goes for his own Savage Roar combo, then it's...
You haven't drawn like
20?
any innervates yet, so you might be afraid that he just innervates like double combo or something, but I wouldn't count on it. Okay, this is interesting.
He wants to play Shade.
So he wants the board clear with the Wars?
Yeah, the Shade, I guess, guarantees more of... I think the Shade is like harder to remove.
Okay, this is interesting.
Okay. So he uses Savage Roar now because if the Ancient of Lore was killed off and healed him for 5, he'd still be able to kill him?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's dead to combo and innervate though now. But luckily he doesn't have innervate. Because he haven't played in an innervate yet, so it's... You have to account some of those things in when they haven't used an innervate yet.
It's actually pretty risky because, I mean,
Yeah.
the chances that he would have those cards, all 3 of them, isn't that likely, but when he hasn't used any of them, it's something that you still play around.
I always count for like Druids that 22 damage no matter what usually, because I'm used to it.
There's one tournament where, unfortunately for Dark Wanix, I think like almost all of his losses to Druid were at least like 20-something damage, like 24 damage. I think one time he was at like 32 health as Warrior and he still died in one turn.
Yeah. Or turn 6 combos.
Yeah, turn 6 was like Innervate Coin combo. There's like turn 8 Innervate combo, Innervate Savage Roar. Like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good day. I slept well that
5-card
night.
combo. Well, the thing is, I think Chakki was really trying to all of the possibilities where Weifu could survive, and as a result did open a window, but unfortunately Weifu was 1 card short from being able to achieve that. Yikes.
Yeah, this hurts.
Yeah, but it's not going to save him. The Savage Roar combo is going to be enough to finish it off, and Chakki's going to jump out to a 1-0 lead, heading into Hunter versus Shaman, and I think he's going to be really happy to know that he's going to be in a firm lead with this one.
And that's the strength of those early innervates. Weifu spent the entire game trying to react to what Chakki was playing, and he never had a chance to gain back control of the board at all. And that's it. Chakki's going to take game 1.
Yeah.
All right, well, Chakki goes into the game 2 with the lead. How does the Hunter go against the Shaman nowadays, now that Now that GVG's comes out, before GVG, we always said the aggressive hunter would be the one favored because Shaman didn't have healing. But now that they do have access to healing,
I still
What do you
think Phase Hunter is the better one in this option because the mid-range Hunter and against the Shaman are kind of equal in a way because the Shaman has a lot of ways to deal with the high frefs with Hex
right?
and Earth Shocks with like Shredders. But the Phase Hunter is still favored a little bit even if for the Shaman has heal bots because the Shaman can't put out too much on the board because of Unleash. And they do have to do that because to keep the pressure on, unless they get Doomhammer and Rockbiters to do the damage for them.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It's one of those things where you can still survive a little bit better, but do you have what it takes to pressure the hunter back and win? That'll be the classic struggle here, but Shaman seems to be another class that the Asian players really like. You know, a lot of them, and I'm thinking also players like Magic Wind, you know, who also plays a lot of Shaman over in China. Like, is it just a class that the West doesn't pay attention to? Why aren't people playing Shaman more?
They're playing a new kind of mech Shaman as well. It's not the like standard Shaman. So I guess they like mechs in general because they both have mech mage and mech Shaman. So they like the aggressive kind of like tempo gain mech that mech provides right now. And I also know that Weifu Shaman has like Harrison and Kazan Mystic in this one as well. So he could steal some of the explosives.
Well, here we go. Game number 2. It is that Mech Shaman, like you mentioned, against the Hunter. So it is a little bit of an interesting matchup compared to the normal mid-range Shaman that we've come to expect. And, you know, Chakki on Hunter, when I see him, it feels right. It's like, yeah, that's what I thought kind of. I was like, Chakki on Freeze Mage. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like Chakki with Wolf Riders and Arcane Golems. Okay.
I remember all the way back to like last year. This was before even the official release of Hearthstone when I used to cast the King of the Hill series, where Chakki sort of got his start. He actually won so many of those King of the Hills in a row, and some weeks he would just straight up 4-0 with Hunter, and it would be done. Like and it was back when people weren't complaining as much about Hunter yet. So
Yeah, people were still naive and young.
so
innocent.
naive.
They're like, oh, that's a Hunter. Okay. Chakki has a Golden Hunter.
Yeah, on like 4 regions.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to summarize himself.
I think he got it like 5 days after the Golden was released.
The fastest games.
It does. It's actually really easy to get Golden Hunter compared to like Golden Warrior.
I have
example.
a Golden Warrior.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Golden Shaman though was pretty hard to get.
For some people.
I guess,
Very
like-
edgy, TJ. Very edgy. Very edgy. So which 2-drop are we going with here if we're Weifu? The Whirling Zapamatic feels like Hunter wouldn't be able to easily answer it, but the problem is the Mad Scientist trap. It's like,
Yeah, if Weifu put a lot of research into Chakki, he knows that he's playing the Phase Hunter, and he knows that he only plays explosive traps. And he doesn't have a minion like in his hand right now that are kind of good against explosive trap. So I would guess he just puts a Neutron on the board to try to delay the explosive trap as long as he can. Because right now, like explosive trap kills everything except for flame time, but that's
it'd be one of those things
not a
where
standalone minion.
yeah, Neutron will want to take the damage from it, trade into it, let the explosive trap take the Divine Shield off, and then play the Whirling Zapamatic.
Yeah.
Very annoying.
And
for
hiding
Weifu.
the Whirling Zapamatic behind an Neutron, like any stage in the game, can make for some huge numbers. I mean, you can Flame Tongue Totem, which he already has in his hand. You can Rock Biter, and that card can sometimes, as this more aggressive mech mage, can single-handedly win you games.
Yeah. The Whirling Zapamatic is just... It's insane if you don't kill it early on, because there's so many ways to buff it.
Yeah, Flame Tongue, Rock Biters, if you have an Abusive Sergeant. And then all of a sudden you're taking like 12 damage on turn 4, and you're like, what?
Even like Power Maze. Just Power Maze
yeah,
and that
Power
Whirling
Maze is good
Zapamatic
too.
is over already.
I've lost to the coin Whirling Zapamatic into rolling a Taunt Totem many times.
Wow.
Taunt Totem OP.
Yeah.
I guess he just plays Knife Juggler here, I would guess. Or
There we
Silent.
go.
It also works.
Doesn't want him to get mech synergies to then build up the board, especially if he knows there's Tinkertown Technician and other things. So if you have to give it up, make it do some damage to itself.
And he doesn't want it to eat his trap for free either.
Right.
Not necessarily for free, but it would still be on the board because it would just eat the Divine Shield.
I think it's because Haunted Creeper is just so weak in that situation. You would pop the trap, and then it wouldn't even be able to get to the taunt. So it doesn't have much benefit. The Iron Beak Owl seems much more fitting.
Yeah. It's quite an awkward turn for Weifu right now, because he doesn't want to play Whirling Submatic because it would die next turn, like, no matter how it does, because of the Explosive Trap. But he still has to do it because he has to develop his board, and he reference the next creature that Chakki plays.
So then does he just totem then?
I think you still play the Whirling Submatic right here, because the totem is just going to die, like, no matter how against Explosive Trap, and
Sure.
you have no way to proc it. You have to proc it eventually. So I think he just has to play it.
Good point. Good point. Maybe he can find a way to buff it too. Defender of Argus. If he has it, he can go for big damage.
It's a great card, but you can't overvalue it. It's still a 2-drop.
Oh, there's the Wolf Rider. If there's any doubt of what kind of deck it was, Wolf Rider is always like that card where you're like, oh, it's that kind of deck.
Yeah.
Tough turn.
Wolf Rider is the guy that brings up politics at a family dinner.
Oh, that card's really, really
Wow.
good right now.
That is
Kazan Mystic.
amazing right now.
Yeah. I guess you just steal it and go face. Like, completely. This is when you gotta raise him.
Yeah, with Flame Tongue Totem in your hand as well, you could definitely win a race.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
even just
goodness.
having the Explosive Trap is so good against the Aggro Hunter, because they can't attack with Wolf Riders and Arcing Golems and stuff like that.
Since he's attacked
Until
into
they
the Iron
flare.
Beak Owl. Well, it's a card that I
Flare.
think might be starting to see more of in Hunter.
I don't think they want to play Flare. I think they can play like their own Kazan Mystic.
Oh man. This is like sweet poetic justice porn right now. For anybody who played Shaman, it's like, yes! It's like, now who's the one who kills all their totems when they attack in? Or low health minions? Considering like how pretty much almost everything in this deck has 2 health or less.
Yeah.
Like other than animal companions that might pop out.
You mean Huffer?
Yeah, well, I meant more like the Leok and Misha, but yeah.
It's always
Good
tough.
point. Even Huffer. Even Huffer.
So this is awkward.
Well, it's awkward because now he has a second explosive trap. It's like, well,
I think it was like
Yeah.
a thread. And if you have like 2 explosive traps onto different heroes and you play Kazan Mystic, do you destroy the trap or nothing resolves?
that's a good question, actually. I don't know.
I think it destroys itself.
Yeah, I would say that it just takes it and then it just nothing happens. It's like a secret removal.
Yeah.
Fantastic impression, Dark Wanted.
Thank you very much. I practice at home. In the showers. Every morning.
Alright, well, the explosive trap does trigger through the Doom Hammer. And this is, again, it's going to be a race. And the reason why it's so slow in the very beginning stages is because every single point of damage will end up mattering. So, Chakki's trying to be very meticulous with how he does this.
Players make jokes and casters make jokes about how Base Hunter has such tough decision making, and we make little quips, but it really does take some thought to these early plays, because like you said, every point of damage matters, and there'll be some games where you lose because you were 1 damage off because you played too quickly early on in the game.
It's easy to make a mistake, and it's easy to say like, well, the deck autopilots, and if you're in a good matchup, it does. But it's one of those things where you also could easily mess up and fall a couple points short, and you're like, I just got unlucky. When realistically, you probably didn't optimize every single decision.
I like how this face hunter just instantly turn himself to a board control hunter because of that 1 trap.
Yeah,
Those minions are only like there to keep the shaman's minions to actually attack him. So they're just gonna like trade everything they can.
that's what you want, isn't it? You don't want the hunter to trade.
Yeah, that's actually what you want. That's how you win
Well,
against
that's what I
these
meant.
guys.
You want as a hunter player, you don't want to trade. You want to be attacking face.
And this explosive trap is going to live for a long time, and that's going to continue to pose just huge problems.
You might be
for
asking, like,
Chakki.
why is he so afraid if those minions just die? Because he doesn't want the chargers to be coming in. and like getting in free damage either. So he's going to be using removal here, even though it does end up giving his own board a little bit. But just look, like now you can't actually charge with those arcane golems until you have something else that pops it. Chakki's idle here until he gets an Eagle Horn Bow.
He might just have to just take it anyway, because it's just going to stop him from doing just about anything besides playing that board control role for a long time. He's staring at still a 4 durability Doomhammer left, and 18 health is still a decent amount, but Shamans have ways that they can burst through, especially this more aggressive Mech Shaman. They have the Lava Burst, Crackle as well to sort of finish out. It's still a pretty scary situation.
Yeah, a single Rock Biter puts him down to effectively 4 health remaining after the Doomhammer hits 2 turns. So Chakki feels like he might have to start weaving in something. Yeah, here, Dark, if he draws like a beast, like say he draws Web Spinner, should you kill Commit? Oh, okay, he's gonna go Commit now. Man.
That's interesting. I think you could even do like an awkward play, like just hero power and play an Arcane Golem and don't attack. Just have it on the board to like trade against something that comes up.
Sure.
To save some mana in the future.
Makes sense.
That's what the Arcane Golems are gonna do anyway now. They're just gonna like pop and trade.
Yeah, unless he gets a weapon, right?
Yeah,
even then, is he
he's
putting
so
himself
close
too
to
low?
dying.
Yeah.
That Mad Scientist is just gonna die and be traded off. He doesn't have any more traps in his deck neither.
Very true.
Yeah, I think the Arcane Golem, you're right, it has to trade. I mean, even then, if he trades, he's still on a very easy draw to die.
Yeah.
His opponent has 8 damage and just has to find a Rock Biter and he's done.
That one explosive trap on the Shaman. He's even hiding behind the overlay as I'm not there, he's just baiting.
Really clever play from Weifu to protect that secret as opposed to just kind of let it go haphazardly, stopping the Chargers in their tracks. Of course, even if the Chargers were in play, Chakki would still be short damage.
Yeah.
Whoa, he doesn't even trade.
I think that's game. And Crackle definitely ensures this game. Because the Flame Tongue Totem should be able to pressure enough. And Weifu is going to take game number 2, tying it up, despite having a tougher matchup.
Wow. Kazan Mystic, MVP of that game. A fantastic tech, a good read. By some players
that's what he
to bring
wanted.
that. It is.
I mean,
exactly.
Yesterday, the Taiwanese players, I don't think they got a single Kazan Mystic off because they were playing each other against deck. It was like they didn't really get an opportunity. I think the Mirror Entity was the only opportunity where it was able to steal, and even then it was low impact. But that was specifically what they prepared Kazan Mystic for.
It's pretty interesting because when I submit decks for this tournament, I was playing on ladder some time before that, and I realized that Hunter was getting really popular on ladder. And I played against 3 decks out of 5 that played Kazan Mystic, and just like wanted to take traps. So I like decided to not submit any kind of like secret decks to this tournament just because of the Kazan Mystic meta game that's going on.
Well, that's a pretty clever read from you. Now we go into Mage versus Mage, but this one is Freeze Mage versus Mech Mage. And I feel like Freeze Mage does generally pretty well against Mech Mage because of how well it can stop aggro, especially if he has early game cards to stop the board from building too much. But is there something that I'm missing? Is it like, is there an opportunity for Mech Mage to really sneak in and kill if Freeze Mage is not drawing well? Or like, is it pretty dominant for Freeze Mage, you think?
It's pretty dominant unless they get the Canucks like lack the draw. Freeze Mage is like Miracle Road, they can lose to itself if you don't draw the right cards. So you have to get the kind of like clear the boards early on with Doomsday, Frost Nova, or get some card draws. You could also be stuck with a lot of cards in your hand that's pretty like useless, like this for example.
Well, Mad Scientist is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a really good keep.
Other than that, though, he's going to need some help. In the meantime, Weifu will be looking to build up his board as soon as he can. Clockwork Gnome is important to that.
I also know that Chakki wanted just this matchup because he knows the Shaman and Druid plays Kazan Mystic. But we haven't seen in this mech yet. This mech match.
Chakki got a little bit unfortunate yesterday. He got matched up against Warrior with his Freeze Mage, so I'm sure he's a little bit happier about this matchup.
Yeah, it has a bit higher win percentage.
A bit.
Just a bit. Maybe like 80.
Yeah, for sure. You know, sometimes Doomsayer on a pretty, against early, like say he played Mech Warper, you know, and you didn't have an answer to it. You know, sometimes Doomsayer, even if you don't have to freeze the board, is pretty good against aggro early on too, because they can't actually kill it. And it gives you some stability on the board. So even having Doomsayer, even if it doesn't have Frost Nova, And Cone of Cold is pretty expensive. Still a really good reinsuring hand for Chakki.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Doomsayer played now if he plays Snow Chugga. Because the only way to remove it is just coin Fireball.
Coin
Or
Fireball.
have be lucky with the spare parts.
Right.
Stops a lot of momentum.
Well, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to play Doomsayer now. He can still play very slow.
Yeah. He has the Cone of Cold, so he knows he can play Doomsayer turn 6 pretty safely.
Drawn into a lot of his AoE as well. Blizzard and Flame Strike are both fantastic against Mech Mage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the biggest adversaries to Freeze Mage though are minions with Death Rattle that summon annoying things. In particular, like Harvest Golems or you know, the pilots, for example. They're so annoying because even if you use Flame Strike or Blizzard and Doomsayer, there's still things that pop out.
I've seen less Harvest Golems though in the recently like mages. Everyone runs Shredder, but usually they replace the Harvest Golem with something else, like Hogmaster lately.
Yeah, the 3-drop next. Even Spider Tank is taking a lot of that.
Yikes.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Annoying things coming from those shredders.
Well, I mean, that's just Pilot Shredders in a nutshell. One thing that is interesting too. Okay, well, he played Doomsayer here. One thing that was interesting too is whether or not Weifu should ever play Mad Scientist, because I don't think you want to summon Mirror Entity sometimes, because if they have access to Doomsayer and they play Doomsayer, it just guarantees it pops, because it copies it on their side.
It's an instant clear, basically.
Yeah.
Really rough.
So if Chakki knows the only secret is Mirror Entity, it's one of those things where if he has a second one, he'll probably want to keep it and try to pop it.
This is really bad for Weifu.
Yeah, he has no way to clear the Doomsayer.
Yeah, it was quite risky because he could like Frostbolt it and kill it. It saves him 7 health, so it's like an Ice Barrier in its own.
Is it worth playing the Pilot Shredder just to get something else on the board?
I think he has to in this matchup, to be honest, because he's not gonna win if he don't keep the pressure on.
You can't spend a turn doing nothing.
Yeah, I think Shredder is like I have to.
He also used the Doomsayer, so maybe Mad Scientist now is okay. I don't know. Maybe
Still risky, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Shredder is definitely the best option.
He might not know that he runs Explosive Sheep neither, so that Mad Scientist can just be a backfire. The Mirror Entities it.
True.
It's like a pseudo play.
Oh, that is a really bad one for Weifu. Chakki can easily ping that off and play the Mad Scientist now. Easy peasy. Lemon breezy.
Never heard that one.
Really?
Isn't it lemon squeezy?
Oh, you're right.
I just
I
thought
don't
you
know. I
were,
was thinking about some of my favorite scents from like wick candles or something.
I just thought you were being like really edgy and a Danism.
I have been hanging out with Reynad a little bit, sharpening my blades.
Scary.
Chakki picks up Fireball. I mean, it's a way for him to continue to just to stave off the damage. It really doesn't matter too much about how much damage you have in the hand to end the game, because sometimes you just have to outlast the Mech Mage. But the one wild card is the Antonitis, where if they can start gathering a lot of burn damage, they can even go past ice barriers that are up as a secret.
Yeah. Antonidas is like a second win condition, apart from Alex Tryson. It also gives them a chance, like a slight bigger chance to beat some of the decks that can otherwise be harder to beat because of the healing.
Yeah, definitely. But there's so much freeze on Chakki's side, and this is why we said Freeze Mage feels very good against Mech Mage, or even aggressive decks in general that's oriented around building the board. You know, Zoo, for example, another deck that we haven't seen in a while. I'm not complaining. But it was a deck that Freeze Mage was good against.
It's tough here because you feel like you're just throwing things out to die, but you can't afford to not play anything. And I mean, eventually he's just gonna play all his cards, empty his hand, and everything's just gonna get killed anyway. And
Another Rusty Horn.
not that useful.
No, unless he wants to, for the sake of stop taking damage, or like keep his Mech Warper alive, he can taunt up, you know, say his Tinkertown technician.
Runs out on me.
I think I would rather taunt up the Mech Warper to play around something like Blizzard or maybe another Cone of Cold or
Flame
Explosive
Strike will
Sheep.
destroy everything anyways, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
Taunt up the Mad Scientist, yeah.
yeah.
But that Explosive Sheep though.
But
Gonna
that
be nasty.
explosive sheep.
Wow.
I mean, it won't really matter, right? Is this not the perfect Flame Strike?
I think it's better with Explosive Sheep, to be honest. Save the Flame Strike. Because this is the time you can actually...
Benefit off
Get
the
the
mirror
combo.
entity.
Yeah. Okay, he decides to put 2 damage instead.
I mean, you keep the you play more mana efficient this way too, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So instead of using only 2 mana and then awkwardly like, well, I guess I'll just play Mad Science number 2. You can use the 7 mana, kill off 3-4 cards, and then go from there.
Do you think Freeze Mage just isn't brought as much into tournaments because of the variance of its good matchup versus its bad matchups? It's like good matchups are so good and its bad matchups are so bad that if you get a bad matchup, it just feels terrible to bring it.
Usually depends on the tournament format usually, because there are some decks that can instantly win against it. Let's say
Ooh, that was pretty.
let's say you feel like the last man standing as a 5, and you know your opponent has Warrior and you bring Freeze Mage. You might get 1 win, but you know that your opponent's gonna counter it next turn anyway.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
In a format like this, it's much better because it's blind picks, so your opponents aren't sure they will counter it. So you can have that option to either get free wins or become a free lose.
Wow, right on time. Is that ice block, by the way?
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure if it's ice block, you absolutely should just snap call the Alex Strasser.
Yeah. The earlier you can get that out, the better usually. At least in most matchups.
Sure.
Matchups without any health gain. Sometimes you want to time it a little bit so that you know you have your burst on the following turn. So you don't give your opponents time to like heal up back up like against Priest.
Yeah.
Well, this is really bad for Weifu because now, I mean, Chakki can just essentially push through everything through the Blizzard and then just attack the face.
Practice that at home? In the shower?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah. This morning as well.
Yeah, Chakki's 1 mana off lethal, but yeah, as long as he's effectively gotten it.
I will mourn.
Thank you.
Oh, Chakki, you little scoundrel.
Cold-blooded as well, no emotions showing on his face.
Yeah, even if he reversing switch, he's done. So Chakki goes into game 4 of the blind pick stage with a 2-1 lead.
A lot better of a matchup than yesterday for that Freeze Mage, and not necessarily a deck that fits Chakki's style, but he's definitely making it work, at least in that series.
A lot of cute plays at the end. Trying to get into his opponent's head. He should change his name to Cheeky. Yeah, that's all I get, a chuckle. All right.
Thank you.
All for now.
All right, well, Chakki goes into game number 4. So what are we feeling here lineup-wise?
I guess you don't want to run the Freeze Mage anymore because of all the Kazan Mystics. So that's kind of out of the way.
Yeah, but it's got its win, so
Got its
well
win.
done. So then it's either Hunter or the Druid for Chakki, and then we still have Druid, Shaman, and of course the Mech Mage.
I think like Chakki will go with Druid because it's his like all-around deck right now, because he knows that those Kazan Mystics are more devastating than he expected.
Sure.
Especially like we saw in the Mech Mage versus the Face Hunter. Just
Sure.
1 explosive trap turned the whole game. And he could like go for that route again and hope they don't draw the Kazan Mystics. But I feel like Druid is, he kind of has to go with Druid or Freeze Mage. He can be lucky like going Freeze Mage against his Mech Mage, because that's his one favorable matchup. The Druid is pretty weak against Mech Mage and the Mech Shaman in general.
We might have end up seeing a Druid Mirror matchup here. It's possible.
Well, it's not. It's Freeze Mage again versus Druid. So the mind games coming out for Chakki, saying, I don't care if you run Kazan Mystics. I'm going to play some Freeze Mage. Is that going to pay off for him, though? Druid is one of the better classes equipped at taking apart the Freeze Mage, primarily because It's got armor up naturally through its hero power, and it's got the Ancient of Lores. I do remember, though, specifically, in ESL Legendary Series regular season, Weifu played Druid versus Freeze Mage, and I want to say it was against
You asked
like
for
Magic Amy.
It was, I believe, yeah.
And I felt like he didn't really know how to play the matchup as well as some other players because he was using cards, like his important cards, like Ancient of Lore, just drawing cards, as opposed to for heals.
Yeah, it was the week that he came back after winning in week 4. He got his automatic
Right.
invite back to week 5. But I'm sure he's learned from that experience because he was actually eliminated by Magic Amy. But they also have Burst as well, especially the faster Druid, and Burst can sometimes be what you need to be able to take down
Right.
Freeze Mage. Having damage that comes from your hand is really good because the Mage can't just freeze your board and be sitting pretty like that.
You have silences for the Doomsayer as well. You have great mid-range pressure minions that are out of Flame Strike range, generally speaking, 5, 6 health. He even has Lotheb. That's like one of the biggest cards against Freeze Mage, because even if they have Ice Block and Alexstrasza out, if you have a big board and you Lotheb back, they're in trouble.
His hand is pretty weak though. He doesn't have an early drop. He's just gonna hero power for 2 more turns.
It's true.
That's okay, he's building up his armor, but as the Mage player in this matchup, your main goal is to keep the armor count as low as possible before you get into those Alexstrasza turns. Because any points of damage, once you get past that, is actually a pretty big deal.
It's pretty secondary, though, because I think you'd much rather have Shave Next Rammus. You'd much rather have the pilots coming in here. The fact that he doesn't have an easy way to put on pressure gives Mage more time.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like the big reason why Lotheb and Ancient of Lores are so good is not because of the direct mechanics of healing, but because usually it takes the 2-turn kill away from Mage. They can't Alexstrasza and burn you, versus then they heal themselves and they still have 20 damage on board, by the way, and they're going to kill you. So if you have nothing to leverage those cards, then you actually don't do anything. You just kind of stay alive, barely.
So Iceberry is like the only play here, I'd say.
He has to play something. And he can't be
He's at 10
Arcanine.
cards, right?
Yeah.
So if he plays another draw mechanic, like even Thanos,
Wait, that's
he's going to overdraw?
9 cards?
Oh, it's 9 cards, you're
He
right.
doesn't have to play something, but he should.
You could play like Arcane Intellect and coin out the Blood Mage as well, but it's not that sexy.
Definitely not. That's what we're all about here at the Hearthstone Legendary Series.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to do.
Sexy
but
plays.
I'm
Sweet moves.
not. Hey, Chakki, nice moves. The Druid of the Claw is his first semblance of pressure. Harrison Jones would have been okay too, but it easily dies to a Frostbolt. And you can always part with one of the Frostbolts, considering you have 2 of them, and you can link the Ice Lances there.
And you think he put it in charge mode here, just to get out of range of Frost, or put it into taunt mode to get out of range of Frostbolt, or it seems like charging usually in this matchup is the better thing to do. Is putting on damage when you can.
Again, it does make it very vulnerable to like Frostbolt, and then you can play a secret. But
I would feel like Lotheb would actually been preferable that turn.
you like using Lotheb early?
Kinda, yeah, against Freeze Mage before they get too much mana, because if you play too late, like turn 8, they can still Frost Nova your board and keep you
True.
stale. If you do it this early, you know your opponent has to play like another Acolyte if he has it, or Doomsayer or something. You
Right.
force your opponent to play an awkward turn.
Sure, and they still also can Ice Block again for 8 mana too in the late stage of the game. You're right.
Yeah, and you keep like, you just snowball from the pressure. That's how Druid win this matchup. You just keep going damage, which the Freeze Mage can't keep up with in the end. They have to play defensively.
What they can't do though is kill you if you Lotheb, right? They don't. They
That's
usually
true.
don't have enough burn.
Yeah.
How often though does it come
Is
down
that-
to?
Is that heart beating in the game, or am I getting really nervous all of a sudden?
I don't know. Can't tell.
Oh, okay. It's sticking out. I didn't know that. I usually swipe instantaneously. I don't really hold it. So,
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool sound effect.
Get to feel the bass.
All the secrets are coming into the hand of Chakki. That's not a good thing. Normally you want the mad scientist to fish it out, but in this case, assuming he's even running 2 ice barriers, his mad scientist will actually draw nothing.
And if he plays it and it gets killed and nothing is drawn, then that gives a lot of information over to Weifu, saying basically, hey, both ice blocks are in his hand, which is information that you can use later on to make stronger turns.
I mean, playing one of the secrets is just because you don't have anything else to do. And I don't think it's like warranted that you should freeze now, because your freeze is very valuable against Druid.
Yeah. You have to save the freezes for later. To play a Doomsayer, bait out a Keeper, and then start flame striking the board.
So, but one card that is excellent against Freeze Mage as well is Dr. Boom, because it's one of those things where they can't actually kill the Boom bots if they have Ice Block up, because it might kill them.
Yeah.
Because the secret's no longer active on your turn.
Yeah.
But that is not the case in this scenario.
Even then, though, it's still damage.
Yeah.
And that's what he needs. It can be a little awkward later on if you have to use the combo to like pop an Ice Block. Putting out those last points of damage can sometimes be really tough. And actually, I think it was the match with Weifu and Magic Amy where he actually used a combo really early and got her down super low, but then just didn't have the damage from his hand to be able to kill her, which was I don't know. It just seemed like he didn't have that experience playing against it, but seems like he's making the right choices now.
Guess you can play like Arcane Intellect and Cone of Cold or Frost Nova.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it also is whether or not he wants to take the damage from the Boom Bot in full. If he goes for a Cone of Gold, he might take massive damage. One only from the left Boom Bot, and only two, so pretty middling results here. This Doomsayer most likely usually won't pop off because of the likelihood of Keep of the Grove. But in this scenario, Weifu actually doesn't have it. But he still actually can kill
I got
it.
the answer right there.
Yeah.
It would have been really awkward if he didn't have it.
Yeah.
He had to like Wrath cycle to hopefully get the Keeper.
Well, this is a big blow here to Chakki because Druid is one of the best classes at being able to take out those Doomsayers, especially even early on, because you mentioned earlier the Keep of the Groves. They have Rats and the Druid of the Claw, like what he would have in this situation. So keeping those big creatures on the board is actually a big deal, because you look, Chakki's hand is okay. I mean, he has Blizzard, he has Frost Nova, but he doesn't have any way to clear it off after that.
I think he's just gonna like Arcane Intellect. Hopefully he draws like Flame Strike.
Yeah.
Stall the board even more.
Yeah, he's got Frost Nova and Blizzard. 2 Blizzards, in fact.
Okay, well, the second Blizzard there is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Blizzard's a little bit more expensive. Frost Nova is more flexible, especially with Antonitis. So I think keeping Frost Nova is preferable, and you can use Blizzard now.
Yep.
Not to mention if you pick up Flame Strike next turn, then you actually have damage on. Compared to if you Frost Nova'd and Arcane Intellect, the Dr. Boom would still survive. So, this, playing pretty slow. Oh! The Kezan Mystic. Now, there's 2 secrets up, though, right? So, you want to pop the Ice Barrier first and then Kezan Mystic.
Now you steal both.
What?
Yeah.
You steal both?
Yeah, I think it's both.
No, it says take control of a random enemy secret.
Oh, it is?
Doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's both. We gotta see about that.
Does he want to use it now, though?
Both secrets? No.
Does he want to use it now, though, or does he want to maybe wait to set up a play where he can actually just kill him, take the Ice Block and kill him?
I think he wants to set up. Because if he plays it now, your opponent can just play another Ice Block.
Because if he plays Loatheb now, then he can block out AoE damage from being done. And then next turn he can Kezan Mystic and Savage Roar to be able to just win the game.
Yeah, I don't mind just guaranteeing that you take the Ice Block, though. Just you give him a little bit of health, but then you just deny them the comfort of playing Alexstrasza. But this is assuming that he doesn't take both secrets.
Okay, it's only one. Okay.
Oh,
which one did he take?
Tease. That was such a
I think
tease.
he got the Ice Barrier.
But no, he still has Ice Block because he can't play it.
Yeah.
So he took Ice Barrier.
Yeah, I think I really would have liked the
Hero Power into the
Hero
Ice
Power
Power
to activate, because I think that it's not about the 8 health that you're worried about giving him. It's the fact that he can Alexstrasza and not worry about dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really important card too, the Ancient of Lore. This is still a really tough matchup. It's not like that little decision that Weifu made is going to be the game breaker. He's still in a very, very good spot.
Maybe Weifu thought it took both secrets too. It's possible.
It is
Could be.
possible.
I thought it did, but I was wrong.
Because if it did, that would have been a fantastic line of play. Because he would have locked him out, forced him to either play the freeze or play the second ice block. And if he didn't have it, he would have just straight up won.
Just got an Arcane Intellect.
I don't think Chakki's in that bad of a spot right now, to be honest.
He's not until, I mean, he just needs to get Alex Straza, right? He can't burn him down. So he's on his last freeze.
I think he needs a Flame Strike more than Alex Straza at this point.
That's
You,
also a
you need to
possibility.
clear this board before you play Alex.
Sure.
Otherwise, Lore is just going to come out and heal and pop Ice Block in one turn.
Instead of playing the Arcane Intellect there, he decides to play the Mad Scientist and weaving his hero power to take out the Dr. Boom. Because if he's thinking of his next couple turns, he might not find the ability to hero power to be able to take out that 7 damage off the board. Because I don't know if he has any ice barriers left.
What's really funny is normally as a freeze mage, you want to be able to attack as much as you can. He's using this to draw, by the way, so he's going to only have 1 Ancient left. You're going to normally want to attack in, but in this case, the Mad Scientist doesn't want to attack in because it gives him more life and more armor. So he's going to have to use it to get a better AoE trade instead.
Yeah.
I think he wants to innovate that Spectral Knight out.
Yeah, Spectre Knight's so hard for Freeze Mage to deal with, especially since he used 1 Frost Nova and 2 Blizzards already.
Yeah.
And a Cone of Cold, so he can't stall it.
And a Doomsayer.
And a Doomsayer, you're right.
So he could get a perfect clear though with Flame Strike, ping the Lore, and trade the Mad Scientist into Spectral Knight.
Yeah, he'd have to get that next turn, though.
He's got a couple chances.
Alright, well, I'm also okay with stacking armor as much as possible. Although, what are you saving the Innervate for, then? Would you might as well Innervate?
Oh, right on time.
Awkward though is that the Mad Scientist can't attack.
No, just kill off the Ancient of Lore.
Whoops.
And then
You can ping off an armor.
And then you can use the remaining mana to Arcane Intellect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Tinnitus is going to be very important considering how much Druid usually can heal up with Hero Power and Ancient of Lores. And it looks like it's only 1 Ice Barrier in Chakki's deck, so more is getting discovered. 15 damage exists for Druid.
He could pop the combo right now. Oh, actually can't. Never mind. I thought Ashay was the second Savage Roar.
Yeah.
Was a different phase.
Still a 3-drop. He's getting close to being able to pop it, but
Now he needs Alex Straza, right? And Healbot. I remember seeing that and just thinking, wow, that's pretty unique. It's kind of like the Sludge Belcher in a sense, right? The Sludge Belcher is supposed to gain that amount of health.
It's like a good card to play on low of turns. That's mainly why you have it.
Right.
this is a tough turn.
Yeah, that Spectral Knight is really ugly when it comes to... You can't clear it with the Antonidas and Frostbolt Icelands.
You can use the Antonidas and chip off some of the armor.
I think that's almost his best bet here.
Trade it for a fireball.
Or 2.
2, yeah.
He doesn't have Alex Straza. That's one of the keys to victory here. I mean, his ice block's gonna get popped, and then it'll be all on Chakki whether or not he can come back from that spot. Now, of course, he has to pop the block and kill off the Antonidas. Does he have enough damage to do that? Yeah, I think so. Right?
Yeah, he does. Because he'd be able to... No, because he's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen, he can't.
Can't attack. He
It's
wouldn't have
12
enough
damage
damage.
with the treants only. And then 16 with the Shade.
So, hold on.
21 in
6,
total.
5, 11.
He has 21 damage.
Oh, he's frozen. Yeah, you're right. That's awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, missed 2 damage to do everything.
You can't really...
That's really funny. He actually can't do both.
Can't really afford to leave this Antonidas up, though. but he needs to pop the block because he needs to make it an awkward turn where if you pop the first block before Alexstrasza comes out, it makes it awkward for the mage player because they have to find a turn where they play the second ice block while at the same time playing the Alexstrasza. Or Archmage Antonidas gives the mage an opportunity to win without even using the Alexstrasza. So I think the Antonidas is more important.
Man.
1 damage of not lethal.
Ah, well, this is, I guess, where the antique heal bot is actually pretty clutch. So that way you won't be in threat of getting popped.
But still, that Alexstrasza is so far down in that deck, and now without Antonidas, he does, I think.
I mean,
he won't have quite enough burn without the Alexstrasza to be able to do it.
Maybe. I mean, he's got 21 damage.
He's got second Fireball still in his deck, his second actual Fireball.
Right.
So he does have enough total damage, I believe, because he's got second Ice Lance as well.
Ice Lance.
Yeah.
What to do? What to
We don't have time to draw everything though.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have the heal bot and Frost Nova here.
I think that's the better play overall, as opposed to make yourself on a one-outer. Although there's only 8 cards remaining.
The awkward point is also that even if he draws Alexstrasza for next turn, he wished that he could attack with the heal bot to the face.
Right, but he
But
can't.
exactly, he can't. So that's, he might get 1 armor next turn, which he can't pop in 1 turn with the cards he has in his hand.
Yeah, unless he draws... No, you're right. Even if he draws Ice Lance, it's 13, right?
And then his block,
14 to hero power.
his
yeah.
block would be getting popped that turn as well, the following turn after that.
No, I think you make a really good observation, Dark Wanna, because it might be the case where even if he draws Alexstrasza... Oh, he's got second ice block, right? That's actually the important thing. The second ice block is another turn to Fireball in between.
Yeah.
So then it becomes whether or not Druid has another Ancient of Lore to heal out of that.
Or another Mystic.
Or another Kazan Mystic.
The next couple draws, though, are going to be really big for both these players. This is not really a turn of much consequence for Weifu. The
He
shade
has
doesn't
the
really
hero
change
power though.
things.
Right.
That is the most important thing.
You keep wanting to hero power as much as you can. Is Pilot Shredder worth dropping?
Yeah, I guess.
To leave something on the board in case there's like a second Flame Strike.
Right.
Yeah, you want as much damage as
I
you
mean,
can.
it's very unlikely it becomes Doomsayer. Very unlikely, like 1.5% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe even less,
Maybe 2 drops are there.
which is probably my success rate in asking people out on dates. It's right around there.
Just tell them you're a Doomsayer. Works
all-
all the time.
It's all about quantity. You'll get there.
Quantity. It's supposed to be about quality, not quantity, but sure.
The 1.5% rate, you have to have had a lot of sample sizes.
I suppose. They can't keep saying no forever, right?
Well, they can.
That is so much damage. 24, 27 damage. If you can weave that into just hero powers as well.
He's banking. He would have to bank
He
on the
kinda
fact
can.
that his opponent does not have second Ancient of War.
Right, so you do 13 damage this turn. Then your opponent pops your ice block. Then you have to ice block again and fireball and hero power, and then finally fireball, frostbolt, hero power again, and that should be enough. But if he's hero powering too, that cancels out your hero power.
Uh-oh.
Chakki might need to draw Ice Lance because I think he might be a damage short every
And he's-
single turn, right?
He's a damage short. He
Oh,
is.
that's crazy.
He needs to draw any kind of burn.
7 cards left as well.
Basically, the last Ice Lance. He's drawn both fireballs, both frostbolts, and 1 Ice Lance.
Yeah.
Wow. What other cards does he have remaining in there?
Unless Weifu plays all of his hand and doesn't hero power.
Yeah. That Ice Berry is actually really clutch. Just not being able to attack with that heal bot.
I guess Kazan Mystic end up making a pretty big difference anyways. Even though we thought that originally taking the ice block was the big kahuna.
Awkward thing here is he can't get him down to 1, but I don't think that'll matter as much.
The other alternative is whether or not Chakki kills off Pilot Shredder. And very wisely, Weifu chooses to... Huh? Yeah. But he should kill off the 8T kill bot with the Spectre Knight. No more freeze, I think, either for Chakki.
Wow.
So it's going to be ice block here, and then a fireball and ping. And that puts him down to 9 health.
So an Ice Lance would be enough the following turn.
I wonder.
Wait, no.
He would be at 10.
Actually,
Well,
he gets the better end of it, right?
after hero power.
Because he only hero power to 9. So actually, the Druid's on the draw because he's got 10 damage.
Yeah, he
next
got 10
turn.
damage right now.
We're forgetting the fact that he gets the last count here.
Ooh.
Yeah, the extra
So-
ping actually mattered.
Actually, the ping did matter there. Oh my God! It's gonna come down to 1 damage, and Weifu just didn't have the heal.
Wait, unless he could kill his own shredders and get like vitality totem.
How does he do that though?
He can't.
Yeah, last turn he could, like if he traded
Oh, you're right.
that date chance.
Or like Armor
have paid
Smith. Armor Smith.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe.
He should have took mate for the date.
No, he couldn't.
Take notes for it.
That is
Always
wild.
try.
I can't believe Chakki's
Always
gonna
try.
win like
That's the
this.
point.
We're forgetting that Chakki gets the last ping in preemptively, not the one that Weifu goes up. So it would have to be that Weifu would live by 2 life, not by 1 life. That is a crazy game, and Chakki's going to win this and advance to the runner-up match and sending Weifu home.
And if you told anybody that Chakki would win on the back of Freeze Mage to move on in the tournament, they probably would have called you crazy, but he's done it. And the Ice Lance for good measure.
So it ended up being the case. He also had like 4 cards left in this deck, so the probability was pretty high.
I got eyes on his own face. No, I didn't do it.
Well, that does it. Chakki stays alive in the tournament. And he's going to advance to play Ping Ping Ho in the group for a chance to go into the top 4. And Weifu traveled a long distance. He actually had one of the hardest roads to get here. But his story ends for now until perhaps Season 2. What a great series and really close games. Chakki looked relieved to be able to escape that one narrowly.
Yeah, that was his worst matchup, even. Like, Druid is good against Freeze Mage, but Druid with Kazan, so it's slightly
Druid
a bit better.
with Kazan Mystic. Yeah, I do want to go back to the point of how important it is to have those Ancient of Lords healing, to try and go for those armor ups. It's a lot of things where you can go back to that the game and try to evaluate different turns. But I think the big thing was not guaranteeing the steal and the ice block, because I think that would have put Mage in a really awkward spot.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can steal against the Freeze Mage.
Yeah.
His hand was pretty terrible when he used the Ancient of Lore to actually draw. He needed to draw into things that were going to allow him to even pop the ice block in the first place. So you can't really blame him for doing that, and you can't really also not account for the fact that you won't draw into your second of Ancient of Lore at all for the rest of the game. So a little bit fortunate, but well played to Chakki. He really deserves to move on.
Absolutely. And if you guys also want to join the conversation, let us know what you think. You can hashtag HLS. Send your dankest memes if you want. I still think we're maybe going to give away a few things here and there. As well as just message your favorite pros and give them your support. Also, we do want to give a big shout out to Newegg Esports, who's been supporting our studio throughout this entire process. They've been us for a long time now, ever since the studio opened a year ago here at ESL, and we're really happy to have them on board. So again, check out the link below. Check out some of the stuff that they have on sale, and maybe you can help us help you to help us right back with the sponsors to help you with great content. I think Chakki's ready with the winning interview. Thanks so much, Dark Wanix, for hopping on board, and good luck in the semifinals.
Thank you.
In the meantime, we're going to head over to Anastasia, who has the winner, Chakki, for a couple of words.
I am sitting here with Dignitas's very own Chakki, who just won his very first series today. Congratulations, Chakki.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Now, how much does this victory mean to you? You mentioned in your media piece that you quit school to focus solely on Hearthstone.
This victory means a lot. I haven't had much success in the few live events I've been at, and it's really great not to go out 0-2. I've got my eyes on the prize, going for first. If I can win my next match, I'm basically on equal footing again. So,
Well, very best of luck to you. I would really like to talk about your Game 2 and Game 4, if possible. So your Game 2, Shaman versus Hunter, you seem to be doing very well, and then the Kazan Mystics came out. Talk to me about your mindset going into those games.
Right. I knew about the Kazan Mystic beforehand, and I played to the percentage that in his first 8 cards he probably didn't have it, and he ended up top decking it. So obviously from there the game was really hard. I think I still had a chance. I just needed to draw a weapon so I could get rid of the explosive trap to play Arcane Golems, but that didn't happen, so that was just a loss. Put it behind me. And going into the 4th game, I actually did not think he would pick Druid. That was the worst matchup for me. And I think he actually had a lot of inexperience in the matchup, and I basically knew what I was doing because I'm one of the few people that still brings Freeze Mage tournaments. And I think I played basically perfectly, and it ended up working out perfectly.
Well, that is, I mean, that Freeze Mage game, Frodan was saying that if anybody was going to bring Freeze Mage to a tournament and win, it was going to be you, and it was. And again, I mean, your pings, everything was just so calculated. You really, thank God you got that Ice Lance in the ends, but if you didn't, it was those pings that got you the game. And what are some of your prediction? I mean, the matches coming up are going to be Silent Storm versus Savitz.
Well, I personally know Savitz, so I'm really pulling for him, just with not even worrying about the strategical stuff, but Silent Storm's definitely pretty good. They met and he 3-0'd Savitz, so deck-wise, I don't know if Savitz is in a great spot, but I believe in him and I think he can pull it out and go to the semis.
All right, then. And any last words that you would like to say to your loving and adoring fans right here?
Well, thank you to everyone that watches my stream, follows me online and all that. We're growing in size, so again, just big shout out to everybody that follows me.
Perfect. And your stream is the same as your Twitter, Chakki Hearthstone?
Chakki_HS, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, Chakki. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with Chakki's predictions? Let us know at #HLS. And of course, let us sponsors know that you really appreciate and like this event. Let our sponsors know over at Newegg and Plantronics. And don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this short break.